There are many proposals out there. What's our problem? Climate crisis, patriarchy, the elite, technocracy, socialism, overpopulation, pollution, or totalitarianism, if I pronounce that right. But what's the real problem of the world? I propose none of them. Those are just symptoms. The real problem is people unconsciously seeking validation for their childhood wounding, which is really the reason why we achieve, idealize, follow, destroy, control, manipulate in all forms and shapes. We perceive ourselves to be separate and are hypnotized into believing that there is an external object that can complete us. Why is that? Because individuation creates perceived separation. And if you think of that as consciousness, which is really just a placeholder for something or nothing beyond any definition, we get born into a vehicle of experience, which we call the human body or ego. And then all of us go through a phase called individuation. It's the phase where we seek validation for who we are, specifically nurturing from our mom and acknowledgement from our dad. And the degree might differ very much, but what we all have in common, we don't get a complete validation for who we truly are. And as a result, we assume that there's something wrong with us, that who we are is not enough. We believe we are wounded and perceive ourselves to be separate. And from the perspective of our ego, that makes us unviable. That's dangerous and detrimental to our survival. And we start developing behavior to compensate for that wound. Whatever it takes, we have to survive after all. At least that's the assumption of our ego. That mechanical mechanism dedicated to our survival is what we call personality or identity. It's the sum of the assumptions our ego made about us, others, the world, based on our experience, our individuation experience, who we believe to be, the persona, mask we use to cover our being. And it's really a reactive and fixed mechanism dedicated to keeping us alive and orientated. It focuses on the how and to control the circumstances and projects its beliefs onto the world. And as a result, we continue experiencing ourselves as separate, which then confirms our beliefs. A closed loop echo chamber, if you want to call it that way. And that's really why our life then is dedicated to attack, submission, or flight. Or to use modern terminology, optimization, improvement, achievement, healing, planning, power, control, or simply just following along with the rules, expectations, and doctrines of authorities, media, or society in general. Which really means not living life, but following a mechanical process. And we have to call it by the name. We are identified with an illusion. Because that sense of separate itself, that wounds we compensate for, don't really exist. No one is actually wounded or separated. Our true being is unimpaired by experience. It was here, it is here, and it will always be there. It's who we are, a human being after all. As long as we live a compensation for who we are, we extend our suffering and prolong our mechanical, aka process subservient life experience. Technocracy, AI, worshipping, and transhumanism are just an extension of this hypnotic desire to compensate, really taking the illusionary quest to optimize and transcend one's flawed identity to the far extreme, chasing a mirage. So what's the solution? Very simple. Stop the external seeking for validation and be with yourself. Wake up to the truth of you. You are whole, connected, a part of everything. You're the one self expressing itself through all and everything. You are a mystery, a miracle. You are the wonder called life. That's who you are and what you can experience. So I'd invite you to take self-responsibility and discover and develop the qualities you are externally looking for in yourself. And that will enable you to get over your personal self, which really means to become an adult, which might be a good fit as you probably already have the adult body. And if that's not yet in the realm of your experience, that's no problem. The sun is sometimes clouded, as right now, but it's safe to assume it's there. Similar to who you are. Your true being might be clouded by thoughts and feelings, but you really have the choice to assume it's there. Your ego assumes you're separate, which leads you to experiencing that. So start using assumptions for you, for once, to your favor. And sooner or later, the sun is unclouded. Sooner or later, you'll realize who you are. After all, it's who you are already. Just a simple choice. You might even realize there's no problem. The only problem, your perception. What a wonder.